All right, guys, we are officially in December, which means it is time for another dividend portfolio update. Today, we'll get all caught up to speed, and I'll show you everything like my best and worst performing stocks for the month, all of my recent purchases, and we'll discuss what my upcoming plans are here in December to close out the year. But before we get to that, in case you're new to the channel, my name is Ryan, and here we strictly talk about investing in dividend stocks, which I think is hands down the easiest way to create passive income, and I think this is something that anyone can do. So if you love dividend stocks, and if you're on a mission to retire early, then hit that subscribe button. I'd love to stay in touch as we both continue to grow our portfolios and collect that cash flow. Also, guys, leave me a comment below and let me know what's been going on in your portfolio this last month. I'm guessing a lot of you guys were up just like me, but what were your best performing stocks? Did you get any crazy dividend payments this last month? I want to hear all about it in the comments below. Anyway, getting into how my portfolio performed this last month over here on my dividend portfolio tracking spreadsheet, which you can start using for free. There is a link to download this spreadsheet in the description of the video. But anyway, this has my portfolio valued at just over $52,100, which is a tremendous gain compared to this time last month. At the start of November, this was valued at like $46,000, so we've made some incredible strides in this portfolio in a very short amount of time. Now, according to Charles Schwab, I jumped up over $4,200 just in the month of November, which is the largest gain I've ever seen in a 1 month period. And as I'm sure you can imagine, most of this gain in the last month came from share price returns. This is just a crazy number, but I did not at all have a bad month of income as well. In fact, it was a record month for me, bringing in total $231, with some of my highest payments coming from EPD, who paid me $43 in the month, along with AT&T and Verizon, who both paid me just under $30 each. Now, if you want to see my full income breakdown and see all of the dividend payments I received this last month, then check out the video I have linked in the pinned comment. I go through it all there. At any rate, guys, with this crazy gain, that puts my rate of return in the last month at 8.9%, which is not too shabby at all. I am trailing the rest of the market, but not by too much. But with that said, I am still outperforming SCHD in the last month. This fund was up 6.9%, so I beat it by a couple percentage points. And then looking at my portfolio's return on a year-to-date basis, I am trailing the market by quite a bit. I'm still up, I'm still in the green, which is good to see, about 7%, but still I'm getting absolutely decimated by the rest of the market. However, with that said, I am still outperforming SCHD on a year-to-date basis. This fund is down 1.5% in 2023, so I guess it could be worse. But anyway, switching gears and getting into my best and worst performing stocks for the month of November, this is unlike anything I've ever seen. My best performer by far was Williams-Sonoma, who saw a surge of 30.34%, which was helped at least in part by their quarterly earnings report from this month, where they reported a beat on the bottom line, and that shot the share price up 6% just in one day. But anyway, if we zoom out looking at their year-to-date performance, guys, they are up 70% in 2023. And I remember stressing about buying into this company when it was at like $130 per share, thinking, did I miss my chance? Is it overvalued? But look at it now. It is headed quickly to $200 per share. Now, back over here on my spreadsheet, just taking a quick look at my Williams-Sonoma position, just look at how crazy it's gotten, guys. In the last 6 months or so that I've owned this, it's already up about 45.5%. And this is my highest gain in terms of dollars across my entire portfolio. I'm up over $1,100 with Williams-Sonoma. But anyway, guys, in addition to this top dog here, I had some other really strong performers. KRC was up 24% in the last month. WP Carry was up about 20%. Realty Income also coming in strong with an 18% gain. It looks like Real Estate Investment Trust did really well. But that's not all, guys. I mean, Apple was up 12.3%, Blue Owl up 12.25%, Verizon up 11%. And then if we continue to scroll down, we'll see a lot of other really strong performers taking us all the way down to the bottom. There was not one stock in the red this last month. I think that might be the first time that's ever happened. Anyway, moving on, as far as my transactions go, you guys may remember I actually did sell out of one company this last month. I sold out of Intel, who also saw a pretty substantial surge in the last 30 days with a gain of 19.5%. But look at this, guys. If we zoom out looking at their year-to-date performance, this company is up 63%, which I used as an opportunity to get out while I was ahead. I made a little bit of money on Intel, really nothing too crazy. With an average cost per share of $44.29, I ended up selling out of my entire position on November 20th when the share price was $44.46. It's a little bit below that now, so I'm glad I sold when I did. And scrolling over here looking at the total return, just in terms of share price, I only made like $11, but if we include dividends in the calculation, I made closer to $120, which represents a 4.2% total return, which is not great considering I held the stock, I think, for maybe somewhere between 1 and 2 years at least, possibly even over 2 years. So that's not a great return, but at least I didn't lose any money. And if I wouldn't been as patient And if I would have sold earlier, I probably would have lost some on Intel. So I'm glad that things worked out how they did. Now, after selling out of Intel, this has left me pretty flush with cash. As you guys can see, I have about $2,900 right now, and I'm slowly deploying this back into the portfolio. And so far, I've spread it across a few different holdings, which brings me to my purchases for the month. In November, I added to Johnson & Johnson. I invested about $340 into this one position and picked up 2.25 shares. And I also added 1 share of Realty Income. Nothing too crazy, only invested about $50 into that. And as far as REITs go, I ended up investing much more into WP Carey. About $350 went there and got me 6 shares. And I also put $260 into my Roth IRA, which brings my total purchases for the month to just a few bucks shy of $1,000. And now switching gears, guys, and taking a look at my Roth IRA, it's currently valued at $5,750. And in the last month, just like everything else, it's seen a really crazy gain. It's up 7.7%, representing a gain of about $400. And if we zoom out looking at the year-to-date performance, this is looking pretty good. It's up $340 or 8.2%, which is beating my taxable brokerage account for the year. But if we zoom out looking at the Roth's all-time performance, it's up 7.22%. Now, if we take the value of my main taxable brokerage account at $52,100, and this portfolio is generating nearly $2,300 of annual dividend income, and add that to my $5,750 Roth IRA, which is generating just under $160 of annual income, this brings my total combined portfolio value to $57,869. And across both of these portfolios, in total, I'm generating $2,438.95 of annual dividend income, which is not a huge gain compared to this time last month, where my projected income was $2,425. So it's only a gain of about $13.25. The income gain over the last month would have been higher if I wouldn't have sold out of Intel, but with all that cash on the side, we were still able to raise the total projected income overall. And if we look at this on a year-to-date performance, I started out the year with a projected annual income of just over $2,000. So far in 2023, I've added about $430 to my projected income, not too shabby. Anyway, now switching gears and taking a look at my watch list, I've made quite a few changes to it since our last update. Even in the last couple of weeks, I've made a lot of changes to this, but this is where it stands as of now. Rollins, ticker symbol ROL, here is the only company that has not changed. I definitely want to add this at some point, but with this, I also subtracted a couple other companies and added Visa and Vici Properties to the watch list, and I think this is like the 3rd or 4th time I've added Vici to the list. Vici is one that I constantly keep in the back of my mind, but at this point, I already have 3 real estate investment trusts, so I'm not sure that it really makes sense to add a 4th, but then again, I think Vici is a rock solid company to be cool to invest right here in my backyard, so I don't know if I should let my diversification concerns get in the way of that. I'm worried that I might be throwing the baby out with the bathwater by thinking that way. And then as far as Visa goes, I know I'm super late to the party on this one, and the company's had quite the run up this year, but I've been spending a lot of time learning about Visa lately, and the more I learn, the more I like it. If you guys haven't listened to it already, you should check out this recent episode of the Acquired podcast where they do a deep dive on Visa, because this is what really kicked things off for me. I'll link the episode in the description. And I've got to shout out my man Russ for sharing that episode with me. He's the one who put me onto it, and listening to that got me really hyped on Visa. I'll be talking more about it in an upcoming video, and I'll give you my thoughts on the company. And it could actually potentially take the place of Rollins as my top dog right now. That's how excited I am about Visa. Now, as far as my plans for this upcoming month, I think December will prove to be a pretty eventful month. I've talked about selling out of positions like JEPI, AT&T, and Verizon, and I might just rip the band-aid off and do that sometime before the end of the year, which in doing so will leave me even more flush with cash than I already am. And as far as how to reinvest that cash, I'm not entirely sure yet. I'll definitely be adding to some of the positions I already own. And all of that consolidating could pave the way for me to invest in one of the companies on my watch list. And I'm curious to know, if you guys had to buy just one of these right now, which one would you pick? Let me know in the comments below, because they all look like great ones to me. And speaking of great ones, if you're in the market for some great dividend stocks, and check out this next video right over here where I'm telling you about 3 of them that are deeply discounted and all look like great pickups for your portfolio right now in the month of December. So click right over here to find out which ones they are, and I'll see you in the next one.